Hello, Star Wars CCG players, fans, and folks who just wanted to hang out with me on Juneteenth in the USA. It is a holiday, so as a state employee, that means I don't got to work and I get to hang out here with you guys and stream some Star Wars CCG. We've got the final of the top 8 for the Retro GEMPC. We've got Timo Dusel, Dylan, who's starting with Darkside, versus Johnny Chu, Mr. Yellow, who is starting with light side. Um, Frankly, both these guys are outstanding players. This is going to be a very fun match to watch just to see what these two do in this match. So we see Dylan starting with Raltier Operations and throwing Mara and Jabba to the audience chamber. I'm all right. This is quite assuredly the first ROPS deck I've seen with Jabba the Hutt in it, so let's see how this rolls. Also starting the fairly standard mobilization points, IAO, and then there's no try. Johnny starting Insurrection, staging areas, and let's see what else here. This, very possible this is, and wise advice, so I don't think there's going to be a lot of sense alter play going on here. I'm wondering if this is the Speeders deck, or similar to it, that we watched Joe Horby play a few nights ago against Pat Johnson. That was a real grindy game that Pat and Ralops won by, I think it was 10. This one's already going to play very different because I know in that match, Pat didn't put Mara down with Profit. He just said, all right, if you're going to free Han, free Han. Here, Dylan activates. He gets the Spaceport docking bay with Arrest Order. Little surprising with that. I'm usually, you see the Executor or Death Star 2, and there's Death Star 2 from hand. So he may have just missed that or had to go with it. I expect we'll see, as there's Karita he grabbed with mo points, I expect we'll see a guy thrown probably to the Death Star 2 docking bay just to bump up activation. With mobilization points, that's a pretty standard play. And there we do see Commander Mirjik and ability. So Timo's definitely playing a different variation of ROPS than you see in a lot of things. Timo may have just always go with the there's no try. Like if you want to start sensing alters and sensing stuff, like if you're not playing alters, which is really, you do see Brigham occasionally, or you do see ROPS occasionally playing some sense alter. If you're not playing any, you're starting there is no try. Light side's a little more likely to start wise advice. There's no guarantee that Johnny's running sense alter. It'll depend a lot on what we see come out here, but if this is something like the Speeders variant, there's no sense alter in there. There's just flat out not enough room in the deck, and you're not having that many characters on table at a time. So this, like I said, and I think this is the Speeders variant, as we see Johnny pull the Hoth Echo Docking Bay. The there's no try might be, that was Dylan's best starting effect, because none of the other ones are really going to come into play. And Johnny puts down a snow speeder, puts down maneuvering flaps. That'll give him he deployed somebody, which will keep him ahead of ability. Honestly, that might be a card that doesn't necessarily come into play. Yeah, this format is a little bit different. The there's no try start could be a Timo's not sure if Johnny's playing speeders or a mains version of Prophet, and if you're playing a mains version, you're absolutely running Sense Alter. If you're running speeders, you're very unlikely to, because you just flat don't have the deck space. And seeing the speeder come down, that was there. That might have just been Timo also. Like, ROPS' third effect is fairly open. Like you're starting mob points in a rest order always. And then the third one can be resistance if you think you're going to be facing numbers. It can be there's no try. It could be oppressive enforcement. If you're running enforcement and grabbers as your anti-sense alter, you'd probably start enforcement. You could do there's no try instead of enforcement and just say, look, I'm not running sense alter and I want my opponent to lose cards. So there's a lot of options there, and especially in a deck that can functionally ignore Honor of the Jedi because you're always going to have multiple battlegrounds. There's no try is a much better anti-sense alter start than oppressive if you're not running grabbers, which Teemo might not be. And we see Teemo draws a few, grabs Masterful Move, or uses Masterful Move to grab Monarch. And Monarch's Johnny lost and gets nothing. Civil Disorder, The Signal, Honor, Snowspeeder, Bausch, It Could Be Worse, Tunnel Vision, It Could Be Worse. Oh, he does get to It Could Be Worse, excuse me. Rebel Snowspeeder, Effective Repairs, and Luke with Lightsaber. So he gets nothing, but he does get to see that Johnny has a spy and could just try and jump on Commander Mirjik. And Teemo's got no force saved. He grabbed with the Masterful Move. He grabbed Monarch. Yes, Wise Advice is the oppressive enforcement mirror, so it allows the free immediate effects. In this case, Johnny's probably playing a couple grabbers, but it's much more if Maneuvering Flaps gets altered, it goes to used so he can get it back. Like that's where Johnny's start is with this being speeders. That's a hard start. Those are his 3 starting effects. That's all he's ever going to start. ROPS has 2 to 3 cards you could put in that float in there. You could start There's No Try. You could start Imperial Decree against Prophet, which wouldn't also be a terrible option. Like there's a bunch of options. And we see Johnny activate, grabs a Tunnel Vision. Why did he say you and your Sabak? I didn't see a Sabak. Alright. And he had the Civil Disorder, which is okay. I don't know what Teemo's talking about in chat with you and your Sabak. I didn't see any Sabak get played, so I'm not sure where that's coming in. I think it's the speeders. Honestly, I would not be at all surprised to see Johnny go a little bit clear out here and just let's go after Mirjik with Bausch and Luke and hit him, and looking at, at that point you're looking at a dozen in overflow, and you'll cancel ability, which is also good. And Johnny's probably thinking that through and also doing the math and going, if he has the Gick, I'm not even sure he needs Draw Their Fire Worm Time. Like, Draw Their Fire is cute. I don't know that Dylan has a Gick yet. And I don't think the deck runs Draw Their Fire because he's running Order to Engage, so he wants you to start battles against him. And Johnny's really just trying to pound up a ton of power and say go. Oh, Teemo got to verify Johnny's deck with Insurrection. So, like I said, I would not be shocked to see the Bausch plus Luke. And he may just go Bausch. Like, I think he's drawing some cards. I'm a little surprised he didn't try and take advantage of that beatdown. Like, if Teemo doesn't have the Gick, you're talking about a 5 overflow plus your Battle Destiny. Actually, I think 6. Mirjik's 2/2, isn't he? So yeah, you'd be talking 6 overflow plus your Battle Destiny if he doesn't have a Gick. And an early 6 to 10 cards off of ROPS is an absolute killer. So, and here we see Johnny went and got Income Corporation with the Signal, and he's just trying to do his setup, and now we see Voyeur, played targeting Throw Me Another Charge, which Johnny used to cycle a 6, and Johnny loses honor to the Voyeur play. Seems reasonable. I think honor is a card against ROPS that just doesn't come into play. There's just no reason to play it. And now we see Timo goes for another site and gives up a verify. Timo's got 10 cards in hand and 12 force. Like, he can do something here, but... And Johnny says troopers. And Sarkly. So Timo's playing a slightly different ROPS. His might be going more beatdown heavy as well. And that might have been why Johnny didn't go after Mirjic, is he was a little concerned about the potential rebeat. As we see Timo pull a Biker Scout Trooper who's going to deploy a speeder bike and likely jump on. So he's going to be, I expect, flipping ROPS this turn with some Biker Scouts who can react all over the place, and Johnny's going to have to do something about that. As there's Sergeant Elsk, who, when he's forfeited at the same site as a Biker Scout, satisfies all battle damage and attrition. He is really, really good. Like, he's a really obnoxious card, and especially if you get him with Barrage. So Timo flips. Kind of a quick flip, but at the same time, there's not a lot that Johnny's really threatening right now. And we see the Biker Scout Trooper, and yep, so Timo just piles everybody together. That's an interesting plan. I mean, if I'm Johnny at this point, I just go, all right, here's Incom at the docking bay. Here's a speeder at each of the spaceport, the 2 spaceport sites to flip, and then move them together. And put Dylan in put Timo in a bad spot to try and flip back. This is not what I would consider an ideal start for Timo. Like, that's 7, and the fact that Else covers everything, and you don't really have a way to do much to it. I guess you could use Luke theoretically, and all right, so Johnny hears my idea and says, nah, none of that, and hits the flaps so his guys can't move, throws Bausch undercover with Mara and Jabba. Interesting, Timo hasn't gone and got Mara's saber. I don't know if he just doesn't have it in the deck or what, and we see Bausch get barriered. That's fine. Like, I don't think Johnny was planning on moving her anyways, nor do I think he was going to be doing something insane like breaking her cover and starting a battle. Just to see, he does have Premier Han in there, so he'll get the 10 retrieval from Prophet if and when somebody loves you and flips. There's Incom with the Snowspeeder, or with the Rebel Snowspeeder at Hoth. I mean, he's got 10 cards in hand. He could, in theory, just go speeder, 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 and still get the flip. I feel like against ROPS, flipping them back is always important. And there's Timo saying, all right, I'm going to tactical support and go get 3 troopers. So Johnny's got to be cautious on his end as well, that, his deck's designed to deliver a beating, and frankly, he's got to at least consider he could be getting one back here. So we see Navy Trooper Fenson, Sergeant Major Enfield, and Sergeant Torrent. Those are all Death Star troopers. One of them adds a Battle Destiny with other Death Star troopers. They're all numpties otherwise. There's Luke at Jabba's Palace, along with the Sand Speeder. I'm unsure of what Johnny's doing with this. Like, so there's the Someone Who Loves You to free Han, which will make ability lost, as he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And Johnny retrieves, including his 2 It Could Be Worses. And I expect we'll see Han move out and pilot one of the speeders. Okay. I understand the play line. I just don't love it, but Johnny is certainly at least a slightly more accomplished player than me. So I'm willing to watch and see how he goes with this. And it may be that he realizes the trooper powers, the beats troopers can drop is actually very serious. And he just doesn't want to walk into that in any way, shape, or form. And I get that. Like I said, I think the problem is with ROPS, once you let them set up, like as speeders, you're going to struggle to do damage because you really just are. You don't have a lot of ways of causing that much damage. Your damage is by taking over their sites and order to engaging and threatening huge battle damage, and you're not doing that if you don't go to Reltier. And hanging out at Jabba's palace is cute, and it'll start the profit pings, which is good, but it's not doing a lot other than that. And I don't love that. I think he could have done. I'd have rather see those speeders and Luke go to Reltier and start threatening things there. And you could have held the Someone Who Loves You until your control phase next turn. Freed Han in control phase, so you get the ping, and then walked him away. Like, you were ahead of ability. You were probably going to end up ahead of it at some point. So there's Sergeant Major Bursk going to the Spaceport Street. Spaceport Street is during your move phase, you can move to anywhere. The prefect's office, if you have an Imperial leader here, Imperials at same or related sites are power and forfeit +1. He doesn't have a leader, but he does drop another spy. There's Vader with lightsaber. There's no way he's starting that battle right now. Like, the speeders are each forfeit 6. I mean, I guess maybe, like, you're losing power though. You're effectively 9 to 19, so you're down 3 in power right there. You'll probably hit Luke, but there's a chance you get hit coming back, and if you miss Luke, there's no way you clear Han. If you hit Luke, it's all right. There's first strike, so all right. Timo, also slightly more accomplished than me, also disagrees. I guess you make this play if you're confident you're going to hit Luke. And all right, Sergeant Weyland actually changes the math quite a bit because he adds 2 power and 5 forfeit. So now you're just confident you're going to hit Luke, and then you're going to draw at least a 4 for Battle Destiny. And he misses Luke. So this is already not going the way he wants. I think Luke should swing at Weyland. Yep, the Destiny in the Speeders deck isn't great. So swinging at Weyland and getting rid of that 5 forfeit is good. And we see the 4 for Battle Destiny. And a 1, so yep, good call on not swinging at Vader. You're still up 11 in power. Now, functionally it's 8 because the +3 to Battle Destiny is going to add up. So there's a 7 or a 6 for total Battle Destiny, which might end up just being the 1 speeder. So, and a 3 coming back, so you're 22 to 14, you're down 8. So Timo's going to end up down 1 because Vader only forfeits for 7. And yep, Johnny forfeits a Walker. Timo loses the Tempest got 6 from used pile, and then Vader. Not entirely sure. I guess putting Vader up there, like, you're not starting another battle anywhere, and you're going to get pinged, so you're not going to be able to first strike it back next turn, but that's fine. Timo may have a plan in place. He might be thinking about doing 2 battle lists somewhere, and he's moving some guys around. Really, he's counting on that speeder bike being able to react over to draw Battle Destiny because he's not getting it without that. Yeah, he's just moving other stuff here. Oh, he's got another. I'm trying to think, does the speeder bike? Oh, he doesn't even drive, unable to otherwise on the speeder bike. So yeah, he's counting on. He's got fencing and the trooper on the speeder bike, just counting on, hey, wherever I move the speeder bike, I'm going to get it. So Johnny's activates. I mean, the game's still fairly close. Timo's got 25 down. Johnny's got 32. They have the same number of cards in hand. But again, Johnny's not threatening much in the way of damage at all. And Timo absolutely is. Like, Timo's threatening now, a drain of 3. Johnny's got to do something about that. I'm just not sure what he's going to do right now. And Johnny flapping it up again. Seems reasonable. Like, the only speeder that would be using any land speed would be the one on Tatooine if you threw out a Tatooine docking bay. And Johnny might not even be running that. So let's see what he plans on doing here with 9 cards and 15 fours. He says he's thinking. All right, that makes enough sense. This is kind of a weird, like, the speeders deck feels like it should play somewhat straightforward because it really is just basically throw a bunch of power and use your order to engage and stuff. But a lot of the little tricks are things you've got to time appropriately. And that's kind of the question. So here we see the sand speeder on top of the speeder bike, a Rebel snow speeder there. So I think what we're going to see is probably someone else. There's another snow speeder. So now he's drawing Battle Destiny against Bursk. I think what we're going to see is a battle. All right, so he battles there first. He gets one back. He just has to lose one, and that's fine, but it stops that speeder from retrieving. Ooh, projective is kind of snazzy, and Johnny says, well, I'll use 2 because I need to make sure that speeder bike participates in a battle. I'm hoping he's got to have a Hoojix. Like, there's no way you do this action without a Hoojix, and Johnny's got 1 battle damage to satisfy. That's fine. He just loses the speeder. The goal there was to lock that speeder bike in place because now Sergeant Major Bursk is actually going to lose some force because so he's 5 forfeits. So he's at 8 to 10. So he's down Bursk plus 2 plus Destiny. And that's a strong play. There's the 4. So Johnny's running 2 honors in this deck. So yeah, Bursk will forfeit for 5. So he's running, yeah, he's down another 5. So he did have the Gick. Honestly, I think Johnny picks him up here. I think Johnny's decently happy with that. The reality is those 2 speeders are 10 power plus a Battle Destiny. Like, even if Dylan tries to come down with a huge amount of power on it, you're still at 10 power plus a Battle Destiny plus, I think, forfeit 4 each. So, oh yeah, he did retrieve the honor. So, or he could be playing 2. I mean, why are you arguing with me, Logan? But yeah, you're right. He retrieved the honor, so that might not be the same one. And we see Timo activate he's got 13 force active. There goes Johnny losing do or do not from hand because, yeah, Johnny's not playing any Sense Alter either. And Lando from hand. Lando's just a guy who happens to also cause a profit ping and is just a high forfeit pilot. Like, he's fine. He's not you're fine with losing him, and honestly, he's Destiny 1, so you're very fine with losing him. I don't think Johnny's running numbers in this deck. There's Corporal Dresselin at Jabba's Palace, along with Iroll. That is a... And there's Enfield, and probably the other... Torrent, who adds a Battle Destiny, so... 1 to your total Battle Destiny for each of your other Death Star Troopers. Oh, so he's got... Oh, yeah. So Enfield adds 1, Iroll. Dresselin adds 1 with Iroll. There's Trooper Assault. Here's Throw Me Another Charge to cancel Trooper Assault. That's an interaction I've not seen before. Interesting. So Johnny did not have the Fallen Portal. There's a Fallen Portal, or he decided he'd rather fight through the... rather have the Throw Me Another Charge to cancel Trooper Assault. I mean, I like the idea here. Teemo's clearing Johnny. There's a 6 for Battle Destiny, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 total. So, 15 because of the troopers. So yeah, he's clearing Johnny completely, and all he's losing here is Iroll. And Johnny, having paid the 1 for the Throw Me Another Charge, can't move Bausch out to block that drain either. I mean, I guess Dylan's losing another guy because the Trooper Assault was canceled. Yeah, I'm not sure what Johnny's trick is to get back solo. He might be running a second. Like, I wouldn't be completely shocked if that was the case. Not sure what else his plan is. But again, the profit side of this is really just a cause damage. It's a ping some damage. Excuse me. He already got the retrieval with it once. He's not doing a ton else with it. We see Teemo moves the speeder over to load up the spaceport street and uses 1 to move Mara. So he leaves Jabba alone against Boushh. I don't think that really matters. Oh, yeah, the pings are good, and the pings are solid to do. Like, I'm not saying he doesn't want to be pinging. I'm just not positive that's super important to his win condition. Like, right now, he's got Teemo with 3 cards in hand and no force. So Johnny went and got, let's keep a little optimism here, which is going to be the way to retrieve Han. So that's solid. Like, he activates, he throws down, let's keep a little optimism here. He will use that to retrieve Han. I mean, I don't think he flapped. He did not flap, so he might be planning to just move the snow speeders and move them 1 at a time. So you move the 1 all the way across, you flip you flip ROPS back, then you move the other. The downside to that is it does stop you from, at that point you guys are they're forfeit 4, but you're 6 power. You're not quite as high a forfeit, but Teemo's only got 3 cards in hand. So, yeah, Johnny's still in a decent position here. Like, I didn't love putting the guys at Tatooine the way he did and kind of walking into that, but it was fine. It's really figuring out what he wants to do here, because, no, I do think he'll flip Teemo back here, and Teemo's then threatening 3 damage because he'll drain for 2 at the Jabba's Palace. There's the move of the speeder to flip Teemo. I expect the other speeder will follow. Yep, because Johnny, well, he's a little bit crazy, isn't leave a speeder alone against a ROPS beatdown deck crazy. Even with only 3 cards in hand, like if any 2 of those are dudes, you're in trouble. And Johnny now draws a few. Drawing up all the way to, I mean, he's saving 1 force. I'm not even sure what that 1 is for necessarily. Might be to bluff a barrier or something. Here's the drain of 2 at Jabba's Palace. And Teemo gets to activate 1 with Jabba. The Jabba tells me that he was definitely putting Teemo, or he was putting Johnny on profit. Like, that's the only reason Jabba would be in this deck. There's frankly nothing else. And Johnny loses a Rebel Snowspeeder from the top and a Lost in the Wilderness. Lost in the Wilderness, a cute way to cancel drains. Won't do much against Teemo because he's got the speeder bikes. And we see the drain of 1. Johnny loses effective repairs from hand. I don't think he's got any lost effects he feels the need to go get. There's the Emperor's Personal Shuttle from Teemo, which is fine. Basically, he says, look, this is now a drain of 1, and I don't think you have any space. You're not doing anything to me. And he takes nothing else. He says, fine, come get me. Johnny says, sorry. It auto-passed. Can we revert to move phase? Yeah, and Teemo says, sure. These are both very gentlemanly players. Like, they're both very, very good players. But they are both very good players. Johnny says, can we revert to move phase so I can move? And Teemo says, but then I might move. And Johnny says, okay, which is totally reasonable. Like, I mean, if you want to move guys back into Jabba's Palace where you can't train, knock yourself out. And Teemo's thinking about it, and he might just be thinking of moving Jabba over as well, because Jabba alone, you're not super scared with him at the interior site. Like, you know, Johnny's basically got EPP Lukes to come at him at the interior site. That's it. But it is still a little bit bad. So we see Johnny throw me another charge. Gets that 6 cycling in. Teemo's drawing a bunch here. There we have Sam, Tashi Station, subscribing with Prime. 74-month streak. That is amazing. Thank you very much, Sam. Also, subscribing with Prime, the single easiest way to support the Players Committee, support what we're doing with GEMP, support what we're doing with streaming, support all of this stuff, is you get a free Twitch Prime subscription, or Twitch subscription if you have Amazon Prime. Use it for the PC. You get a couple fun, there's some fun foils and stuff at the different, they get registration at 6 months, at a year, at 18 months, at like, it's all on the forums. It's awesome. And again, it's a cheap and easy way to support the Players Committee. You're not, doesn't cost you anything to do it. You already have the Amazon Prime. You just like, hey, let's just support and see what happens. Like, you should do it. It costs you nothing, and it gives you so much value that it's amazing to do. Johnny searches with maneuvering flaps. All right, he's throwing Hark Seth on the Snowspeeder, so he can start canceling that drain of 1. Teemo's not really doing a ton of damage. Like, Johnny's also not, which is part of the, what's going on here. But, like, Teemo's got 15 cards in Lost already. He's only got 17 down and 7 in hand. So he's got 24 cards total. Johnny's got 33. So Johnny's up like 9 cards in total life. And neither of them are doing much in the way of damage. But Johnny's at least threatening a little more damage than Timo is. You know, because Bausch is blocking the Jabba's Palace drain. Hark is going to be blocking that Spaceport docking bay drain. Timo's going to be doing one. He'll drain for one at Kurita. Johnny's got to decide, though, if he wants to deploy some more cards. Like, he's got 11 cards in hand and 12 force. Like, the question is, where does he want to be deploying them? Because Timo's kind of shot his major trooper wad. And Johnny says, nope, I'm just going to move a snowspeeder over to back up Incom at Hoth. Like, he knows Timo's got Captain Sarkley, so he knows he does have a spy he can come down with. And just by holding this spaceport street, he's stopping Timo from flipping back. And Johnny draws a pile of cards. Not 100% sure what card he's specifically looking for. Might well be Order to Engage, and Timo's probably hunting for his own point man. We see the drain of one at Kurita, and Johnny says it could be worse. So Johnny will lose no force this turn. That is not what he wanted. And we see, Timo losing Bosk and the Houndstooth in hand to retrieve Corporal Dresselin into hand. So he may be planning to try and put together the Dresselin eye roll to some again to go after Johnny at a location. He could be also using Dresselin and Barrich. There's Bad Feeling, have I? All right. That's fairly inconsequential, I think. Honestly, if I'm Timo, I probably just hold on to that card and say, all right, fine, do your thing. It's really a question of what Timo's doing here. He's only got 6 cards in hand. Like, even if he's got a couple troopers, like, all right, so he's going after Hark. There's Barrich. If you don't know what Barrich does, there's the forest. He's got a 4th site, so he can flip himself here with a couple more troopers. If you don't know what Barrich does, Barrich is super annoying. When with another biker scout in a battle, you can draw Destiny and subtract that amount from your opponent's battle destiny and power. So Barrich is a great way to reduce the amount of attrition you're losing and just lower your opponent's total power. And in a deck that's, the Timo's deck is trying to beat down as well, and Timo's going to have to move Mirjik over to flip because you have to control 3 sites with Imperials, and Tempest Scout 2 is currently empty and would not be an Imperial anyways. There's Mirjik who moves over. There's the flip. I expect Mirjik gets on Tempest Scout 2 because there's no reason for him not to. And in fact, I could see Dresselin potentially then walking over and getting on as well. Like, Timo's doing a lot of work to flip himself here, and Johnny's got 20 cards in hand. So he could leave Dresselin there, and I could see, yep, Barrich is probably going to jump on the speeder bike, and now you're going to count on being able to react Barrich over. The speeder bike would not be immune to attrition. The characters all would be at the forest. The Darkside Forest says your characters present are immune to attrition. Yeah, so Elsk gets onto the speeder bike instead of Barrich. So we have Elsk and the Biker Scout Trooper. And Timo draws a few here. He did get the flip back, so Johnny is threatening exactly 0 damage right now. He's going to have to do something. But he's got 19 cards in hand. That is a whole heckin' bunch. And now it's, let's see what he does with it. Timo does save 2 force. He could be threatening Barrier, but remember, Barrier does not hit the speeders. Barrier hits characters and starships. It does not hit vehicles. So it You know, Johnny's deck is functionally not fully immune to, um, excuse me, not fully immune to barrier, but relatively so. And it might have been he was trying to find that Han. He'll flip this back if Han is on Tatooine and not a captive. So he does need to put Han somewhere on Tatooine to avoid, you know, to get his profit flipped back to the 7 side and start pinging damage. Johnny activates, leaves 2 in reserve. He activates the flaps. I'm sort of expecting this is an empty your hand of speeders on a couple locations and make Timo pick which one he reacts to, because you're going to get murdered at one of them. You know, and wherever you react, you don't have Barrich on there, so wherever you react, you've got, okay, I have Elsk who can soak everything, but, like, that's just not that much. And Johnny puts a speeder at the spaceport docking bay. I don't mind that because I think it signals that he's probably going to move the speeders from, at least one of the speeders from Hoth over there as well. I would like to see him just drop a couple speeders at each site, the forest and the prefect's office, get his battle in, and there we see one at the prefect's office, and I gotta think we'll see one at the forest. At least one. Like, now the biggest thing is Johnny doesn't have a ton of force down. Like, Johnny's only got 8 force left. He's gonna have to pay 1 to start these battles. He doesn't have to pay to retrieve. And frankly, he doesn't have to pay to move. So he might be able to get out of here because, well, he'll have to pay 1 to transit from Hoth. So he's got to pay 3 force at this point. So he's got at best maybe the force to put down 1 more snow speeder. And there's another sand speeder at the docking bay. I'm wondering, is he going to battle at the docking bay first? Okay. So he says, all right, I'm going to battle first at the docking bay, retrieve a force, make you lose 1. Really, the worst case scenario there is he loses a guy to the snow. He loses a sand speeder, and he's going to move that snow speeder over afterwards. I don't love the snow speeder he left alone at the prefect's office. Like, yeah, it's 5 power, and, you know, and maybe he's just going to use that to battle and say, all right, well, we're 5 to 5, and I don't lose anything. And there, Timo draws a 6 for Battle Destiny, which makes it a total of 9. So Johnny's going to lose both speeders there. Probably won't get overflowed. And there's the Gick to reduce the Destiny by 1. So, yeah, Johnny's going to lose both speeders. Timo's got to lose something, but it's much more important. Timo's going to create a couple more force loss because Johnny can't, or Johnny's going to cause a couple more force loss because Timo can't react over at either location. So we see the battle at Mirjik's site, which is just a 5 to 5. Johnny retrieves a sand speeder, and Timo loses a card, and oh, Dresselin can react. What? Tempest Scout 2. Oh, your Scout's main move here is a react. Oh. All right, so very nice play by Timo, although it does flip him back. So Johnny retrieved a speeder and lost a speeder. But he got the flip back, which is really what he was going for there. And I think if you had given Johnny that as the option, yeah, the Tempest Scout 2 text is super impressive. It moves as a react, and then your scouts may move here as a react. That was that was a useful bit of text. Johnny, I don't think knew about it or remembered it. And frankly, I certainly didn't. And there we see Timo going for the masterful move, I'm sure to get that Gick out of deck, but also he'd like to have that 6 on top in there. He's got a couple 6s. And Johnny with the free grabber says, no, I don't believe you'll be cycling that 6, sir. There's a drain of 1 at Karita. Like, he's going to get 2 drains of 1 through. There, Johnny loses an Honor of the Jedi. We see Dylan using the Karita tax to lose a forest to grab a trooper back. Loses Zuckuss and Mist Hunter. Yep, that's honestly super reasonable. Start pitching your space to get back troopers because Johnny's not coming at you in space. Gets back Sergeant Whalen, which tells me he might be thinking about starting a battle somewhere. And he... Oh, we get a revert, so he grabbed the wrong trooper, I think. I was like, I thought that was a once per... Yep, there, he went and got eye roll instead. That was a... Like I said, I thought that was an odd grab, but I was like, all right. And drains for 1 at the docking bay. Johnny does not cancel it, or does not reduce it with Hark. He just loses a Bausch from hand. Super reasonable. I don't think Timo's got a way to kill the Bausch that's at Jabba's palace, and he's doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing there. There's Colonel David John on top of the 2 Rebel Snowspeeders. I like that play from Timo, although he is still down 5 power. There's Sergeant Iroll, so he's gonna imagine, yeah. So he's battling. He doesn't get the +1. He's not going to get a +4 to Battle Destiny. He retrieves the Zuckuss and Mist Hunter, which is probably not ideal, but it's a card, which matters a lot right now. And Johnny loses a Someone Who Loves You from hand. Battle Destiny is a 6. That will kill both Snowspeeders, so Timo with some solid... I'm not sure if that was tracked or not. And there's the 4 for Battle Destiny, so... And Johnny uses heading to add 1 to make it a 5. So Timo's down 4. And he chooses to lose Colonel David John, which, you know, Johnny's going to lose the 2, but he can still now move a guy and flip. And that's what he wanted to do right here. So I expect what we'll see is something along the lines of Dresselin moving over to the forest. And that's, you know, if you're Johnny, you're fine with that. So, yeah, I mean, there's not much Johnny can do about it, but like, okay, well, that moves you guys. Like, Johnny's got 9 cards in hand. Again, Timo really doesn't have a hand. Timo's got 3 cards in hand and 12 cards down. This is not a... This game is still not locked down. You know, that flip is going to be... Johnny's going to have to put in some work to contest that flip, and I'm not sure exactly how he does it. Tempest Scout 2 can move as a react, and Dresselin can move as a react, and then you've got Dresselin and Iroll together who will add a Battle Destiny. Like, Johnny's going to have to do something there. So he activates his flaps, searches with Insurrection for something that's definitely not there. But now he knows what his 2 Destiny are. I mean, it's Johnny. I feel like he probably already knew them, but who knows? Let's see what we see here. There's the order to engage. So he's planning to move in front of guys, I'm thinking. And I'm not sure who he's planning to move because he did initiate the flap, so you can't move Hark. I mean, maybe you put a couple guys, maybe you're putting a couple speeders down at the forest and saying, well, you have to start a battle or lose 3. Johnny just draws some. All right. I'm wondering if he's just not seeing some of the speeder combos he wants and not seeing some of the cards he wants to put together there. Because this really is, you know, he's not getting a ton of what he wants here. He's got a bunch of cards in hand. I mean, Johnny's drawn up to 14 cards, plus 10 down. So he's got 24 cards to Timo's 15. Like, he's ahead of Timo on force, but Timo's definitely in a much more dominating position in terms of just doing damage. Timo's going to get 3 through here and for drains. I'm assuming we'll see the Harksef reduce the 1. And Timo activated everything, went and grabbed a card with ROPS. So Timo's not starting a battle this turn, which makes sense. There's no good spot for Timo to be starting battles. Johnny uses It Could Be Worse on the Karita drain. Yep, Timo drains at the Spaceport Docking Bay. I expect we'll see it Harkseft. Yep. So now there's 2 more drains of 1. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if Johnny's got another It Could Be Worse for the 1. Yep, there is the other It Could Be. I mean, we knew he had 2 It Could Be Worses. And Timo is kicking himself for not having grabbers right here. And finally, the drain at the forest. So all of that spread. And it's canceled with Lost in the Wilderness. So all of that spread out, all of that work, Timo caused literally 1 force loss, which was the Lost in the Wilderness, and had Dresselin go missing to do it, and he has no way to find Dresselin this turn. And Timo says, fine, I will throw Emperor Palpatine there, and I'll be extra immune to attrition. And more importantly, now I can search for Dresselin later. Although the me jerk and eye roll seems a little bit gettable right now if you're Johnny, but you have to first initiate battle at the docking bay to clear off Barrich and Elsk, and that's going to be that's where you have to go first. Johnny knows he's got a 6 for Battle Destiny, though. He activates down and leaves that 6. So I think that's what we're going to see here. He's tunnel visioning for a card. What's that card? Gee, no idea. I bet it's going to be a speeder of some sort. Timo, again, he's got 8 cards down and 6 in hand. Like, Timo's got 14 cards. He's not... he's in somewhat of a mildly rough spot. He's in control of the game, it looks like. Like, he's got more ways to cause damage, but Johnny's going to start threatening some actual damage here. And he's going to start threatening it fairly quick. I think if I'm Johnny, honestly, like, if you've got a couple speeders, you're throwing them to the prefect's office. As he activates the flaps, I think you throw the speeders to the prefect's office and you say, order to engage, do your thing. And you wait because Timo's only activate. I mean, at that point, Timo's only really draining for 3. And it's 2 with Harksef. And if Johnny's gets back to those, It Could Be Worses. I don't think he's going to if he deploys his guys. Like, this could end up being there's just not a lot for Timo's going to be grinding his force. I mean, they both have a ton of time left on the clock. They're both very fast players. They're both very, very good players. They know what they're doing here. Johnny, I think, is probably doing the math in his head as well, like figuring out who do I go after and where. He's probably got 3 speeders in hand type thing, and do you deploy them? And when you deploy them, are you worried about the... if you deploy them just in front of guys and you eat the first strike, like, that's not necessarily ideal either. And any battle you start, Timo's adding 3 to the Battle Destiny, and he is drawing at all the sites. So, like, Johnny's got some stuff he's got to consider, because that adding 3 to Battle Destiny means you're potentially losing 2 speeders. Like, if Timo draws a 4, 5, or 6, even with the flaps engaged, the speeders max out at forfeit 6. So you have to think about, you know, what Timo can draw as far as Battle Destiny. There, Timo overwrites, or excuse me, Johnny overwrites the Spaceport document on routes here. That also tells me he decided against putting it to Tatooine and putting Han there to flip profit back. There's a snow speeder. I mean, we can't just see one. There's Han on the snow speeder. See, this is where I think I might have contemplated putting it at Tatooine simply so you could flip back. Like, you can do this same move. You put it to Tatooine. Although, at that point, I don't think you can... yeah, it requires 2 force, so you couldn't transit over. I think maybe he's going to transit one of the speeders at Hoth over. Johnny just realized, yep, he didn't read his objective. He thought he was flipping Han back, and nope, Han has to go to Tatooine. That was a mistake. Johnny giving away that he's playing an objective next game. I'm not the least bit surprised. I don't think there's a single dark side deck that saw any competitive play that didn't use an objective of some sort in this era. Like, that's just not... didn't happen. So Johnny moves both speeders over from Hoth, so he does give up the Incom, the Hoth docking bay and Incon Corp. So if Timo's got his Captain Sarkley, it's a here we go. Timo only activates a couple, though. I mean, he activates 5. He's leaving 4 in reserve. Using 2 to go get something. So he's got a Battle Destiny plus a Barrich Destiny. Are we going to see somebody that adds a second Destiny? Like, Iroll and Dusel are already on table. Or is he just going to search for Dusel? And there's the Trooper Sabak. And neither player has a perfect Sabak. Timo draws his last Sabak card. Johnny stops at 10. And so Johnny wins at Sabak because he has the same number, but he has less cards, and causes Timo to lose the Voyeur. But frankly, much more importantly, Timo can't start a battle now. Like, there's no chance for Timo to start a battle. It's not happening at all, but there's the order to engage, or the point man to cancel order to engage, which is good. Like, that was an important card for Timo to have that stops the damage from the Spaceport docking bay. Like, he couldn't have started a battle there. He'd have just lost 3 force. Like, even with first strike doing things, like, you can, I mean, I guess in theory you can start the battle and say, oh, well, I'll forfeit else, but, like, that feels like a bad idea. We see the It Could Be Worse going off the top to the drain at Kurita. Here comes another drain of 1 at the prefect's office. There's another It Could Be Worse off the top. Johnny is definitely not happy with that. And there goes a signal from hand. Timo's got to do something. So Timo's going to lose a force to retrieve a trooper with Kurita. Loses a masterful move from hand, which is reasonable. He can't get it back, and in theory, at least, he could start a battle and retrieve it, and he'd like to have that 6, and maybe that's what he does, just with the, hey, I'm going to lose Elsk. Like, if he gets a biker, so he got Waylon, so he doesn't have a biker scout trooper. Like, I mean, there's things he could do with that I wouldn't necessarily hate. Like, you start a battle, you drop Waylon for free, you retrieve that masterful move with first strike, you force Johnny to lose 1, You lose Elsk, and then you pay 2 to switch Iroll and Waylon. So you're still drawing Battle Destiny at the street in case Johnny has 2 speeders to come at you with. I've seen worse ideas, and nope, Timo just goes right to move phase, says, well, I'm going to move away from that spaceport docking bay site. I mean, at that point, you have to move in front of Hark. You can't go anywhere else. There's no... And he's not even moving there. He's just going to draw some, which makes sense. Like, you're not getting anything going in front of Hark. And Elsk is going to keep you alive through that battle. Like, you are okay with that. Strong play, and Johnny activates all but 1. I think he might be looping for his Trooper Sabak, which is now 2 down, or 1 down, so he can use 1 force. And then he'd be drawing his Sabak, and I don't know what he wants to do with that. Like, that's in a bad spot again for him to really utilize as much as he'd like to. He does know it should be a 6 on the bottom. So, like, that's a strong card, but what are you doing with it? And that Elsk plus Barrich on the speeder bike is a problem. So, to the point where you might be like, I'll do flaps and then not do something with it, but like, you can't battle at the prefix office because Magic will cover that 6. So, I'm not sure what his plan is right here. He's not draining. He's got to decide if he wants to hit the flaps. And he might decide not to hit the flaps and pay 3 to move him to the prefix office. Nope, he does decide to hit the flaps, so he's not moving the speeders. 5 cards in hand and 9 force. I don't necessarily think he's got enough to do much with it otherwise. Like, I'm not sure where he's going with any force he's got. All right, there's a speeder there. And another speeder. Now, the one thing is, if Johnny battles there, Timo probably can't react over, because if you react that speeder bike over, you leave fence in to get the tar pummeled out of him. Like, you have to leave that speeder bike there. So now Johnny, I believe, is drawing a 6 for Battle Destiny, which is, you know, Timo's got a decent Destiny as well because it is a +3. Like, Timo could actually, you know, still in theory here, cause Johnny to lose both speeders, and Johnny is playing this very close to the vest in that regard. And I think that might be, yep, so there's the 6 for Battle Destiny, like I said, so that's going to be Mirjik. But it's only Mirjik, so, like, Timo's okay with that. And there's a 4, which +3 is a 7. So that is going to be both speeders, and Timo loses a dude. Like, Timo's okay with that, actually. But he is starting to run a little tighter on force. Like, he's only he's only doing 3 damage to Johnny. Like, that's not a ton of actual damage. And there, Harksef jumps out. Harksef's going to walk over so he can cancel the drain. Harksef will, I'm sure, jump onto one of the speeders, although I don't think it matters. There's no way. Timo doesn't have any weapons. So, and there, Han jumps out as well, which, again, Timo doesn't have any weapons. There's no reason really to fear it. Han's 1 power more out than in. And Johnny draws 1. Timo is down to 6 cards down. So, and I was correct. Johnny did not draw his Trooper Sabak. So Timo gets to activate down to 1, drains for 1 at Kurita. I mean, Johnny loses Civil Disorder. Yeah, I don't think he'd be able to play that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, Civil Disorder would not be in play right now. Timo is 1 card with ability up. There goes a third. It could be worse from used pile. And we see Dylan losing yet another ship to go get a trooper, which makes sense. As I've said, there's the troopers do functionally 0 for, or the ships do 0 for Timo right now. The bodies do something. Like even if it's simply a body to go with eye roll, so if Johnny has 2 speeders in that 3-card hand, he can't come down and seriously mess you up. That's a reasonable, very reasonable play. Dylan's deciding which trooper to get back. He may not have a ton left in there. Oh yeah, he's got Bursk. So the upside is Bursk is actually a leader. So if you put him at the Spaceport Street, that's a good thing. And there's Trooper Davin Felth in front of the 2 Rebel Snow Speeders and Sergeant Major Bursk. So he's drawing Battle Destiny. It's +4. That's going to be enough to kill both speeders. And there he gets back the Vader's shuttle he lost. Johnny loses its trap from hand. There's Waylon, just for giggles. And extra forfeit fodder. I mean, Bursk and Felt are not high forfeits, so if he drew a 6, he would have been clearing the site. So Dylan draws a 4, which adds 4, so it's a total of 8. Timo draws a 1, which is definitely not what he was hoping to draw there. Johnny cost Timo a card. It is what it is. And Johnny loses both speeders. And he's sitting with that for the minute. You know, Timo's only got 1 card in hand. Or 1 force left. And I don't think you're going to be moving anybody. Oh, he does use the Spaceport Street text to move the guys. Or at least move Sergeant Major Bursk over there. And then moves the speeder bike over to the street. And moves Navy Trooper Fenson over. Because there's no reason to walk into a battle right there. Like, that's just all sorts of bad planning. Timo's just consolidating his guys, getting them all together. And flaps go out. Timo's down to 7 cards in hand, +2 in force for 9 cards. Johnny's got 10 down and 2, so Johnny's got 12, but Timo's in a good position here. Like, Johnny's doing everything he can to make this close, but he's not in a great spot. And Johnny activates everything, and he is just going to draw up. So Johnny will lose by 7. And it'll be 22-29 in lost. I'm assuming Johnny's going to draw up. Did he decide to stop at 5? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he's doing here. Oh, okay. So he stops at 3. Maybe we're not at the... Okay. Like I'm not entirely sure here. If you don't have a good way to stop these damage, I guess you can Hark Seth 2 drains, so you're going to lose 2. And maybe that's what he's planning for here is, okay, he can, so there's a Clash of Sabers from hand. There's the drain at the forest. So Timo says, I'm not going to let you put 2 down, pay 2 to Harkstef those 2 drains, because that would, at least in theory, allow him to Sabak. Although if Timo doesn't do anything, if Timo doesn't add another card to his reserve deck, Johnny can't Sabak either. This is game 1. So yeah, Timo said, nope, I'm not doing anything. And honestly, I could absolutely see Timo just saying, there's Sarkly. I don't know that I love that play. I don't know that I love putting him there. I'd have put him, oh, all right, so he's going to battle into him to get the first strike ping. He's got to have the Gick at that point, and then it's just a, all right, I paid a card in hand and got another force back. And Johnny loses heading from hand. It's 14-3, like Sarkly in the Gick. Yep, so Timo's down to no cards in hand, so he gets 1 force back with the first strike, so he goes up to 8 cards in hand. He goes up to 8 in thing, and there we see Johnny go with effective repairs, which might have been what he was drawing for, and maybe get his order to engage. Yep. So Johnny's trying. He had to draw into that order to engage. He had to use the 3 to get it, and I think he got Timo to not drain at those 2 spaceport sites because of Harkstef, and now he made him pay for it because he got the order to engage. He gave up the, that 2 force he could have, 2 more force he could have put Johnny down. So Johnny activates 1. That's not enough to get his order to engage out. Like, I think order to engage costs 3 to deploy, is that? 2 force to deploy, so he'd have to, he'd have to activate all 3, deploy it, and then put Han on one of the speeders and move somewhere. Like, that's really would be his play. And then, he's not flapping, but that, I think at that point you're like, okay, well, I guess I don't flaps. I think that's his play. I don't know. So he activates, and yep, Johnny says, hold on, give me a second. He's thinking, and both still have a ton of time on the clock. Timo says we're going to go for a blind Sabak. I think I would rather see the Sabak on Timo's turn. Like, I would rather see here's the order to engage, here's Han and a Snowspeeder moving in front of Palpatine. Even if you give up the, that gives up the first strike, which stinks. So, like, that's the biggest problem right now, is he's down. He had to draw so many that the 3 cards in force pile is just not enough to do what he wants to do. Like, he's kind of got to go, all right, here's the Sabak to make you lose 1, and, there's not much else he can do here. Yeah, and Johnny's just still trying to think, because it is it's not just a, can I win this game, although I don't know that he's going to be able to win this game. It's, can I reduce the differential in any meaningful way? And how am I going to do it? Is it a, is he going to blind Sabak and get it? Does he walk into, if he puts out order to engage, there's really nowhere he can move anyone that scares Timo to the point where Timo says, well, I can't battle there. Like, you move him to the forest, he's power 5. plus a Battle Destiny, that's +3, so he's effectively power 8 plus a Destiny, and you're lower power than that. You know, and probably losing both guys, so, like, this is just not a... That order to engage was a little too late. Like, I'm not sure what else he could have gotten, but I think that order to engage ended up being... He needed a few more cards down. He needed to be able to move the whole pile of guys in front of things, and maybe that's what he decides to do, is activate all 3, move the whole pile to, like, the Spaceport Street, or move everybody but Hark to the Spaceport Street. No, you don't leave Hark, because there's no point in that at all. Yeah, I don't think Johnny's got a great line no matter what. And Timo says, I don't know your destiny, and you don't either. Johnny says, I think I know the top one, and I know another floater. But there's one he's not sure of. Yeah, and that's the thing, is if he knows he's got like a 10, I think you go for, oh, he's fencing. He was thinking of On the Edge. And yeah, and On the Edge would be real good. So, and that's the thing, is Johnny's trying to figure out, good Lord, we got 23 people watching on GEMP right now, along with 16 people listening to me. This is a whole lot of folks watching some Star Wars today. Yeah, Johnny's really is kind of in the tank here, and he's going to have to do something in the next minute or two to avoid that 5-minute timer from hitting. It's really just a, which way does he go here? You know, fencing reducing the On the Edge retrieval stinks a little bit. Like, I guess if he's got a 6, he could still On the Edge for 5 and get back 2, but, like, that feels like not a great play. And yeah, Johnny's thinking real hard here, because this is a real tight spot. This is where match play is a little different than regular constructed, because I think in regular constructed you just would have seen Johnny concede a couple minutes ago. And right now he's trying like heck to figure out is there any way to avoid what he's trying to do here and avoid losing grind out any more force loss for Dylan. Because that's the issue. And Johnny says, nope, he activates the rest of it. And Dylan said, you don't want to get an action timeout. So Johnny activates the rest of it, activates the flaps. I mean, throws a snow speeder in front of Palpatine, so it's 5-5. He can battle, cause a ping. Yeah, and I think that's what he's trying to do here, is just, he'll cause the ping, he'll retrieve 1, he'll cause Timo to lose 1. Battle Destiny, the speeder's going to cover in all likelihood. Although I guess not necessarily. The speeder's forfeit 4. Battle Destiny could actually be bad here. Like, he could end up overflowing the speeder for a force or 2, and Timo's also thinking about, does he want to react anyone over? So Johnny might have a Hoojix here. And it's also possible Johnny doesn't have a Hoojix and just says, nope, So Timo does not draw Destiny. The reason for that is now Timo on his turn is going to be able to battle and retrieve with First Strike. So you're going to see the same play. That not drawing Battle Destiny is one of those things you don't see it used very often, but when it's used, it can be real, real effective. Timo activates 1, drains for 1 at Kurita. Johnny loses the order to engage from hand, which makes sense. He's not going to get to order to engage into play. And there's the Sabak. Johnny draws 2 cards. Timo draws 2 cards. Timo draws a 3rd card. Johnny draws a 3rd card. They pass. Johnny's got an 11, so he's going to win Sabak. It caused Timo to lose another card, which will be the trample, which is okay, whatever. So that Master Luke was probably the card he was a little worried about. And Johnny stacks it so that 6 is on the bottom. He'll be able to, in theory at least, get to that, although I think this is just going to be Timo's going to battle. There goes the on the edge from hand, because, yeah, you're only getting back 2 with it. And you kind of need all your force and all your destiny. Here's the battle, the speeder. Like I said, I think now Timo will draw destiny just to, clear that speeder off. And yep, there's the destiny. It's 5, so it's going to be a total of 8. 8 to 5, so Johnny's down the speeder in 4. If his last card in hand was a Hujix, it is not, so he goes down to just 1 force there, and Timo says, nope, we're good, and I gotta imagine Johnny's going to pick that up here. So lots and lots of maneuvering got us back to Timo winning by 7. So again, yep, Johnny loses by 7. And it is 24 in lost for Timo and 39 for Johnny. So honestly, that ended up not going the way Johnny wanted it to. It looks like they're going to take a couple-minute break. I am going to put the results in here real quick, and then I am going to close this. We'll leave this up for a second as they're getting ready to go. I'm going to set my headphones down real quick and go grab a beverage myself. I will be back in 30 seconds. All right, folks, thanks for enjoying that silence for a couple minutes. So we are going into game 2 here. Timo with a 7 differential lead, showing why exactly ROPS is so darn good. As he just slowly ground out Johnny. Like, Johnny was in a decent position for a lot of the game, and I do think Johnny not reading his objective and putting Han not on Tatooine to start was a mistake. I think if he'd have put that docking bay at Tatooine, he'd have been in better shape. Like in theory, that would have allowed Timo to move all his guys on Tatooine to ROPS, but I don't think that would have been a huge, like, I think Johnny would have been okay with that. And again, it would have started pinging force, and it would have cost Timo 4 or 5 force there, which would have made a huge difference. So it looks like game 2 is ready to go, so we'll pull it up. We have Bringing Before Me, Johnny Chu Bringing Before Me, and Timo on Hidden Base. Pretty standard, deck choices for both, but Hidden Base is always good, and Timo plays it very well. Bringing Before Me is very good in this format. So, and it gives Johnny the option to do things like numbers and Sabaks and all that terrible stuff. So we see Johnny with Arrest Order, Mobilization Points, and Battle Order. So he says, yeah, you're going to be paying to drain right from the get-go, which makes sense because Timo wants to spread. Timo with Do Not, Wise Advice, and Insight. So Timo does not want Sense Alter played against him. Johnny, obviously the 2 Bringing Before Me effects, Insignificant Rebellion and Your Destiny. Uses the Throne Room to go get Emperor's Power. Interesting, Johnny did not have the anti-numbers card, which would normally also be used to go get security precautions. Grabs Emperor's Power, uses mobilization points, and gets Executor. This makes me think that Johnny might actually be playing a somewhat straightforward Bringing Before Me. Like, we might not see some sort of crazy numbers or anything like that. This might just be I'm gonna go into it. Johnny says, I hope you're not playing my deck into me. Johnny, who has played Hidden Base, X-Wing Swarm many times. Like, I'm not sure he's ever unsleeved that deck, and there he just drops the Death Star 2 docking bay, drops Palpatine there just to get the activation. Pretty straightforward play right there. Like, that's, this is Bringing Before Me. That's how it starts. Here's the All Wings report in to go get an X-Wing, I'm assuming. Johnny would have loved to sense that, I'm sure. Yep, he does get an X-Wing. But again, with Wise Advice plus Do or Do Not, it's not worth losing the Force. Like, you're not... There's no reason to lose 3 Force when you do that. Timo also activates only 3. He uses Hidden Base. He's going to drop a system. Johnny's going to take this somewhat slow. Like, there's no reason for him to deploy a lot of this stuff right now. I do expect we'll see some sort of battles. There's Goonie Tay, which is mildly obnoxious, but usually not all that impactful in this matchup. Like, Johnny is going to end up activating a pile of force because of all the systems coming down along with his own activation. And he's not deploying that many characters who are subject to Goonie Tay at a time. Like, the characters in his deck that are subject to Goonie Tay, Palpatine's already on table. Vader certainly is, although you're not going to want to deploy Vader right away because then Timo just gives you Luke and you start losing a force to your objective. And other than that, you've got Mara, maybe like Igar and Veers if you're running walkers. That's about it. Like, and Tarkin. Like, there's just not that many guys. I guess Janice and potentially Sim. Johnny drops the Executor docking bay, drops Emperor's Power. I mean, if he's got Janice, I think he comes down right here, even at 3. Plays a Masterful to go get probably Monarch. Oh, the Imperial Holotable, of course, because why wouldn't you just play every non-battleground? Um, I do actually like that play though. Like that's a solid. And in the play everyone expected to see happen, Monarch just deployed to the Imperial Holotable where he can start draining and theoretically use Emperor's Power to add a Battle Destiny if Teemo comes down there with a projection of a Skywalker. Like, yeah, Sim would be another guy who'd be subject to Gunite. Sim isn't always in Bring Him Before Me because his biggest thing is his text to add a Battle Destiny with the Emperor, and you basically always want the Emperor at the throne room. So you're not actually battling with the Emperor often at all. So Simalu's Add a Battle Destiny text isn't quite as impactful. Like he's still an ability 4 character, like, but he's a natural 5 cost, and that's just a little too much sometimes. And there we see Honor of the Jedi come down along with Civil Disorder. Teemo waited to play Honor of the Jedi until he put a ship at Sullust, because that made Honor immune to alter. I don't think Teemo was going to alter it anyways. Like, losing 3 force to send Honor used when Teemo can just go get it again, just to get that drain of 1 through, doesn't feel like a great play. It is, however, going to stop that Monarch drain of 1, which is a little obnoxious for Johnny. Like, I think Johnny would have liked that drain to happen. The other thing it's going to do is slow down any sort of search and destroy. Like, Johnny's going to have to get to 3 battlegrounds before search does anything. So Teemo draws up. He's only got 5 cards in hand. He's threatening 1 damage right now. Like, he's not doing anything crazy, but at the same time, Johnny's threatening 0 damage and still doesn't have a battleground in play. Throws Vader with lightsaber to the Executor docking bay for 8. Are we going to see a battleground docking bay? Like, maybe not. I mean, Johnny saves a couple. He draws up to 14. Teemo's only activating 8, so he's going to pay 3 to drain for 1, which definitely is a feels bad moment, and maybe Johnny just put out Vader as that was the card he had. Card with ability he had to not lose to Civil. Johnny might just be in a weird position right now. Like, he might just not be getting the cards he needs, as we see Yavin come down and Teemo goes straight to battle phase. He didn't have any ships to play, and he's going to draw a few. Right now he's keeping all those X-Wings together because that's the only way he's drawing Battle Destiny. And you do have to be a little concerned, like Johnny's activating 16 now, so he's got 18. That is enough for, here's the Executor, here's, Evax or whoever as a pilot, like, get some. And I do think we will see that at some point. I'm just not entirely sure when. So I think before we'll see that, we'll see Emperor moving to the throne room where he can at least get the add a destiny to power, or add a destiny to add a battle destiny. There we see Johnny put Dengar and Punishing One alone at Kifix, moves Palpatine over. Dengar and Punishing One alone is generally not a good idea. He doesn't draw Battle Destiny. He's got no immunity. But in this scenario where you can add one with Emperor's Power, you wreck Teemo's Organized Attack if he's running it, because Dengar and Punishing One says you don't get the immunity. And the total Battle Destiny is +1 for each ship in play. Or opponent starship there. So, like, if Teemo comes down with 3 ships, 3 or 4 ships, he's going to lose 2 or 3 of them in that battle just because of Dengar and punishing 1. And there, Teemo pays 3 to drain. Johnny uses projective telepathy, and Teemo says 5 is just an insane amount to pay to drain for 1. So he says no. Uses hidden base to get Coruscant, so he's up to 4 battleground systems in play, so he needs 1 more to flip. I'd imagine he's got to get Kessel out at some point here. Puts an X-Wing cannon on the ship, and he's going to move that over in front of Dengar and punishing 1 and say, come at me, bro. Perfectly reasonable play. Like, that's... And yeah, he's not moving just the 1 ship because Johnny... If anyone in this game is going to be playing a random overload, it is Johnny Chu. And that could just 100% ruin Teemo's day. And Johnny activates a whole pile of force. Teemo does save 3, so he's playing the X-Wing cannon straight, exactly as he needs to, which is, I've got 3. Let's see here. Johnny's got 21 cards. Like, honestly, I wouldn't hate here's an Executor and a Pilot at Kifix. And that'll get rid of that Civil Disorder as well. He's got to do something. Like, I get that he doesn't necessarily want to just move Veda. There, Mayum Oneth. Not sure why. I guess. The Dejeric rules, I guess, say the Monarch has ability. So that cancels the Civil Disorder. That's a thing. I did not expect to see that interaction ever occur. And we see the Blast Door controls. There's Bosk and the Houndstooth. At Sullust, Emperor looks for Force Lightning. There is not one. That Maya Moneth might just be to add, power, or add activation. And again, just to cancel Civil. Like, she may end up moving right over to Palpatine. But also could just be, look, there's no way you have anything you're doing. And Johnny takes the Monarch into hand. It's a hit. Power pivot. It could be worse. TK422. Kessel. Organized. OB with fire. OB with saber. Rapid fire. Draw their fire. Rebel fleet and Bausch. So he hits nothing. And honestly, the rapid fire, draw their fire, like, the organized attack means he probably is losing that battle at, not necessarily losing the battle at Sullust, because there is no battle destiny there and he can't run away from it. So if Johnny's got like a first strike, I could see that battle happening. Like, then you're at 7 to 10 and you could lose one of the Emperor's power to add a battle destiny and win the battle, stack a card. Like, what you want to do at this point is you're not moving Vader to a battleground until you've got cards stacked so you can start taking them, because honor will reduce the duel as well. Ooh, Johnny overwrites Teemo's Coruscant with his own. That's big. Here's rapid fire to go get a vehicle weapon. I mean, an X-Wing cannon does nothing. So, and the organized attack to make them immune. Johnny does not have a grabber for that. But it only makes them power +1. There's the overload to destroy that cannon. I think that was the wrong cannon. Like, I would have destroyed the... I would have destroyed the cannon with Dengar, unless you're just going to move away from there, because it is only a drain of 1 right now. and you know he doesn't have any way to come after you, particularly with that. And that may be the choice. Is Johnny says, okay, well now I got to move Bosk and them together. He draws a 3 for Battle Destiny, so Johnny's going to win the battle, which will cause a stack. And then Teemo's going to have to lose 2 force. He might just choose to lose one of the X-Wings. Like, I'm... There's nothing else you really... You know, I would seriously consider losing one of the X-Wings. Like, the downside is you don't have any more in hand. You're not coming down with more, but at the same time, like, what are you losing? Okay, so he instead uses It Could Be Worse to reduce the damage by 2, which is good. So he's done on that. He is fully immune. Not sure what the hang is here. Does Johnny have a way to cancel the It Could Be Worse? And okay. I'm like, I can't imagine sensing that. So now we see that he can fire that other X-Wing cannon, but he can't make Dengar lost. All right. If I was Johnny, I would have at least contemplated a battle there. Use Emperor's Power to add 1 and wipe out both of those X-Wings and that cannon. So, but I'm here, and did he have the power pivot in hand? Did I miss power pivot when I read through them real quick? Yeah, he didn't have power pivot, so that wasn't a huge thing. Johnny loses 37-20 to 1, so Johnny was running some numbers, and we see Teemo hidden basing for Endor, throwing down Kessel from hand, throwing down Rebel Fleet, so he'll start canceling drains that Johnny will 100% not be doing. There's an X-Wing moving from Sullust to Endor. There's a gravity shadow as he tries to move the second one away. And the Destiny of 3 says that X-Wing is staying put. Hyperspeed of 5. Johnny or Teemo might have to move the guys from Kifix over. Yep. So he moves over the one with the gun from Kifix. Are you going to move them both? Like, you can't move the one to Endor. And you've got one sitting alone, and we know Johnny has the Executor in hand. Yep, so he's going to move the last one over there as well. He monarched his hand. I'm scrolling back. Oh, yeah, Power Pivot was the second card. There we go. All right, that was why he did that with the Power Pivot. Okay. I like how you guys remember that, and I'm focusing on the move by move and didn't remember it because I've got to commentate through this stuff, and it's different than playing the game or watching it without having to keep the stream of consciousness conversation going. So here, Johnny activates, Teemo flips. So if Johnny wanted to pay to drain at Yavin, it's just going to get canceled. So Johnny will not be paying to drain at Yavin. And yeah, with that power pivot, I don't think Johnny's necessarily thinking about starting a battle at Sullust. Even if he does something like, and yeah, I mean, you're not going to drop Executor down there. You're still going to be, I guess if you drop Executor, you say, fine, power pivot the Executor. I'm drawing 2 Battle Destinies, and I'm ahead of you there. There's the probe at Sullust. That's a no. I expect we'll see a probe at Yavin. The downside of using Coruscant as one of your systems is it cannot be hidden base. So you're running out of choices pretty quickly. There's the Executor at, and there's a barrier, which is canceled. So Timo forgot that was out there. I'm like, what am I missing here? So Timo's a little annoyed at himself at using that force to get that in there. Johnny flips hidden base right back. Like, he probed the hidden base on the second try. Gets a couple cards back from his hand. Never ends up having to pay to draw. That worked out about as well as it could have for him. Force lightning and counter us. Oh, good lord, counter assaults too. He just, oh, this is gonna get spicy. There's the battle at Endor. Here's the hyper escape to go run away. And Johnny pays 3 to grab it, which is a strong play. I don't even think you draw battle. I don't think you need to use Emperor's Power here. Yep. Oh, the hyper escape stops him from, he can't Emperor's Power anyways. Or, yeah, he didn't cancel the hyper escape, he just grabbed it. Now Johnny's got 1 force left. You gotta move Bosk away from there. And honestly, I think you might move Bosk to Kessel. Like, I don't know where else you're gonna go. Yep, there's Bosk to Kessel. You don't want to give up that drain of 3. And Vader moves up to the Executor as a pilot. Okay. Again, Johnny's activating 20 force. This is not a real issue here, and Timo's still, like, Johnny hasn't really done a lot of damage, but, like, Timo isn't either. Timo's paying 3 to drain for 1. Yeah, there's another projected telepathy. Is Timo again say it was worth? Oh, Timo uses 2 more. So if I'm gonna pay 3, I'm gonna pay 5. It's like the world's worst negotiation. That's for a force drain. Are you willing to pay 3? I'm pretty sure you're willing to pay 5. You want that drain of 1. And Johnny loses the projective telepathy that, frankly, it doesn't look like Timo's running Anger for Aggressions, so the projective was more going to be an annoyance and a keep Timo honest on trying to empty his hand, but not really anything Timo's going to empty his hand on right now. And yep, he moves the X-Wing from Kessel over to Yavin, moves the X-Wing with the gun to Yavin. So he's just moving the whole pile in front of Yavin. Okay. And, I mean, Johnny's like, all right, fine. Johnny's going to activate 20. I expect we'll see him pay 6 to drain for 2. Like, with that Rebel fleet, it feels really bad, but I'm not sure what else you're doing here without that. And we see Johnny reactor terminaling. Yep, there's going to be a pay 3 to drain for 1. There's the Rebel fleet to cancel it. And I assume we'll see, yep, another pay 3 to drain for 1. Like, that's an obnoxious thing. There goes Luke with lightsaber from reserve, and Timo's perfectly happy to see Luke go there because now he knows he can deploy Luke from Lost Pile using Bring Him Before Me if Vader ever goes to a battleground site. The problem he's going to have is if Vader goes to a battleground docking bay, it's going to be because he's got enough cards to flip. And then he's going to want to move him over, and I think that might be why Timo's going to hold on to that EPP Obi, the Obi with lightsaber, until he has a chance to do something with him. See Dengar and Punishing 1 move away. Bosk in the Tooth comes to join it. Yep, Executor moving to Kessel, so he doesn't have to move in front of him to block that drain. It would force... He's telling Timo, all right, well, you move in front of me. Tell me how that goes for you. And searches for a Force Lightning that still isn't there. I mean, that Emperor's he's struggling to find Force Lightning. I think Johnny might have put the wrong one in. Like, use the Emperor that finds the Force Lightning, not the one that just sort of looks at your reserve tabs and like, well, I don't know where it is, guys. And Johnny's just drawing a bunch more. He's wouldn't shock me. We already saw the counter assault go back. Like this is, X-wing swarm is prime counter assault. You got to worry about it, but he does have the it's a hit to cancel one of them. So, like, Johnny's not in a perfect spot there. He's still not. Neither of them are really causing much in the way of damage. Dylan's going to activate. He will pay 3 to drain for 1. And there goes Johnny loses Sullust. So Johnny's got some space in here. Sullust is an interesting dark side Sullust if you run into something like Outgo Base Operations that's running Haven. And you get dark side Sullust in play. It's just if Haven is canceled, your opponent loses 8 force. So it can be a real nasty little surprise drop. Teemo doesn't spread, but moves his guys all to Kifix. So he can at least drain for 2 instead of 1. Seems perfectly reasonable. Like, if I'm going to be spreading out, that's what I'm going to do. And Johnny's got to figure something out here. Because right now he's behind. And I'm not sure that they've got a similar amount of cards. Like, Johnny's got 31 total. He's got 16 down and 15 in hand. And there he monarchs Teemo lost. It's a hit, power pivot, TK422, OB, draw their fire, hyperscape, legendary, X-wing, rebel barrier, rapid fire, Haven, X-wing. So he gets 2 X-wings. That does tell him, with taking care of those 2 X-wings, though, that Teemo can't attack him in space. So he can, in theory, drain and spread out, and he will get this drain of 2 through as well. Teemo loses rebel barrier. That seems like a solid one to lose. Along with order to engage off the top. And we'll see the drain of 1 at Kessel. And Teemo's going to hang on to that it's a hit forever, because counter assault is going to be real obnoxious. He can't afford to give up a loss to that. Johnny reactor terminals some more cards. He's trying to set something up. And maybe it's trying to get into double counter assault, so he can be like, oh, counter assault, oh, cancel with it's a hit, great. Now I'll counter assault. Like, counter assault is not unique, it's a hit is. So if he can get into 2 of them, this could be a little bit rough. And Johnny just draws a couple. I'm a little surprised he didn't decide to spread to Yavin. Teemo doesn't have a way to go get ships to go after him. And I would have considered at least the move, but Johnny might have considered it and decided it was not a great idea. Just draws up to 14 in hand. Teemo activates a whole bunch, pays 3 to drain for 2 at Kifix. Here's the counter assault. Teemo uses it's a hit to cancel counter assault. And there's the counter. It's almost like I've played this game once in a while. There's the second counter assault. So now we're going to see 6. Ouch time. 5. So we're up to 11. Another 6. So we're at 17. So Teemo's already losing 5. And another 6. Good Lord. So Teemo's drained and is losing 11. Oh, he reduces it by 2 with honor. So Teemo force drained at Kifix and loses 9. That is, ouch. And like I said, it was the double counter assault Johnny was trying to set up. He's like, I know what happens there. There goes the Falcon from used pile. But like, Johnny's still not doing a ton of damage. And I don't know how many counter assaults he's got to try and run that through. But Teemo's going to have to eat him because there's nothing else he can do. Wouldn't actually shock me if Johnny's running something like Bear Quinn Dan. just to try and get some retrieval going as well. There's Haven at Yavin 4 and an X-Wing there for free. I mean, and Timo just draws some. He says, I don't think you have any space to come after me. And I guess that's why you don't just move Dengar and punishing one over, is the X-Wing with Haven draws a Battle Destiny. Timo's down to 7 cards down, though. I mean, he's got 10 in hand. He can still do stuff, but he's not in a great... He still won the first game. Like, and Johnny's still not actually doing a ton of damage here. And that's what's really going to kind of turn this game, is if he can keep Johnny from really doing much damage, he'll be fine. Because that's what he needs to worry about. You know, and I think Johnny's got to decide where he's going with this and what he's going to, you know. So Johnny activates, leaves those 4 that are down. So that's going to be 6/5, and then the 2 force he used to counter assault. So they're slightly blind. There could also be a reason he's leaving those 4, like he might be intending to come down and battle somewhere. You know, something as simple as a here's Zuckuss and Mist Hunter on top of that X-Wing could get a little spicy real quick. Yeah, that's got to be. Did not drain. So Johnny moved into deploy. And there's Brangus Glee on board the Executor. Is Brangus even a pilot? Oh, he is. He adds 2 to the power of anything he pilots, and he can docking bay. He can start exchanging a docking bay to get back that counter assault. That's oh, we get a revert. So Brangus at the docking bay. Does he have to be at the docking bay to do something like that? Oh no, once per turn may exchange a docking bay, and your docking bay transit is free. I'm not sure what the difference is putting Brangus there instead of as a pilot. Like, I think he'd actually would have been fine as a pilot. And there's Janice with the Emperor, so Johnny can start Janicing for things. Brangus is at any time. And there's the Trooper Sabak. Oh. Well, neither player has a perfect Sabak. Timo can't draw another one. Johnny is at 2 cards in hand. And yeah, he chooses to pass. So I think Johnny's going to be ahead in Sabak. Yep, Johnny has an 11 there. Isn't that a perfect Sabak? What is Trooper Sabak? Hold on, I got a Trooper Sabak. Wild cards are 2 to 7. I thought 6/5 was a perfect Sabak. And what are the stakes? A transport vehicle or a character weapon? Okay. So, and now we see Johnny move Bosk and Dengar over to Yavin to force him to think about it, and he draws 1. Timo's got 6 cards down. Like, this is going to be, that's why he needed Brangus at the docking bay, though, is Brangus has to be at a site. Yeah, that's what I thought 11 was a perfect Sabak. I'm a little confused there. So that's fine. Do we have another? Nope. Johnny just loses a sense from hand and point man from hand to the drain of 2. And he's probably okay with that. Like, there's another X-Wing at Haven. and another X-Wing. So Timo's just, maybe he's dumping his hand. He's got, well, I guess 4 would be to get 2 Battle Destinies, and you're facing 2 Battle Destinies. Like, okay. I mean, even if you drop another one, like, you're not putting out Draw Their Fire. I think you're just sticking with it, I guess. So, and maybe he's just going to move one over from, nope, he just draws. All right. I mean, the Spiral comes down there for free as a react, and is probably in the deck. Oh, Emperor is a leader, so it's a wild card. It wasn't perfect until the value was picked. All right, fair enough. That, thank you, Tenny, for explaining an intricacy and a weird rules interaction I'd never even contemplated. And you're right, if you're using a wild card, it is not a perfect sabacc, and that was why. So we see Johnny activates 4, uses Janice. I think he just went and got his sabacc. Yep. And there's his sabacc. Johnny draws 2, Timo draws 2, neither player has a perfect sabacc. Timo does not draw another one. Johnny doesn't draw another one. Johnny's going to determine the sabacc value, which is an 11 to Timo's 10. I expect we'll see the all-wings go away. Yep. And Johnny is doing Johnny things. Like, at this point, you can't even be mad. Like, you can't even be mad at Johnny. Johnny's just doing exactly what he thinks should be done this whole way. He does also now leave Timo with only 1 card in reserve, which means if he battles at Yavin, even with the Spiral, Johnny's still only drawing 1 Battle Destiny. And Johnny activates a pile more, leaving himself 3 cards in reserve. I mean, maybe you drain for 1 here. I'm not sure you need to. But, like, realistically, I'm just not sure you need to pay to drain. I think you're battling at Yavin and drawing 2 Battle Destinies. The total's +3. Like, you're just counting on hitting them. And there's Mara J, the Emperor's Hand, aka Mara Forfeit Fodder, on Bosk and the Houndstooth. There's the Organized Attack, which will not give the immunity, but it will add to the power. So it'll make them all power +1, so he's at 12. And there's the Spiral. As I said, we would see the Spiral come down as a react. Johnny might have been thinking about sensing that just because. I don't think it'd be a great play. It does mean he gets a Battle Destiny, but again, Mara's there to cover that forfeit, and Johnny's now drawing. So there's a 10 in Battle Destiny before this second card, because it is +4 with Dengar. So he's at 13 total Battle Destiny, which is 3 ships. There's a 2. So Johnny wins the battle, which means they're going to see a stack. I got to imagine we'll see Mara forfeited for the attrition. Yep, there goes Mara. And 13 attrition is big. Like I said, that's the Spiral and 2 X-Wings. That's a big hit. Johnny's playing a somewhat non-conventional deck, but it's definitely a Johnny deck, and playing it perfectly. And there's not much Timo can do here. Like, they're really... Timo's not done anything wrong. He's just not going to win this game. And I don't think he can get Johnny below to win the match. So he does use the all-wings to retrieve 5. So he's doing everything he can to try and stay ahead here. And that's a solid play. Like, he's doing absolutely everything he can to try and get there, and we'll see the activate. He's not going to be able to drain because he's got to move that X-Wing away. Although, well, I guess, oh yeah, you don't want to move it to Sullust, though. Like, and you can't get it to, yeah, you can't drain this turn. I think you have to move the, okay. Are you sitting on a Hoojix, I guess, maybe? So he does drain. Johnny loses a Twi'lek and an Altar from hand. Okay. I'm... Oh, the move to Endor is free from... Hey, I remembered there was something that said you moved for free. I thought it was Sullust, so yeah. To move your starship from Sullust Rendezvous Point or Haven, so... It was Endor that had the move text for free, so yeah, he moves the X-Wing. Johnny is right here, I'm sure, going to activate to his Trooper Assault or Trooper Sabak. Use one to go use Janice to go get his Sabak. There's Timo using Organized Attack to get 3 non-unique X-Wings from reserve deck. He's got 2 for sure. Because he retrieved 2 with the thing. And here we see the Sense. There went, yep, so there was the Sabak. That was the Destiny. So Johnny's going to lose a couple. There's Vader with hand from Force Pile and Twi'lek from Force Pile, along with the Sense going away. I think that was mostly I don't want you to be able to stop anything. Like, I'm going to drain you for 4 here. I need that 4 to go through. And yep, Johnny activates all the rest of it because now that Sabak's in a bad spot. But Timo doesn't have the ability to cancel the drain here, which is really important. Like, Johnny just needs to run Timo out of cards. And he has to do it while maintaining, he can only lose 6 more. So, like, the drain at the system could start to add up, you know, so he's going to have to move the Executor over to Endor. But or he moves Bosk and the Tooth to Endor, maybe. Like, I think you've got to move. You can't move in front of Kifix right now. Like, that's the... He's got the Executor at the high systems. You can't move in front of Kifix because of that drain. So I think you've got to move and block the Endor drain. And I think you need to spread so you can drain at Yavin and Sullust. There's Captain Goddard on the Executor as a pilot. Does he add to the hyperspeed? 1 to armor and 1 to hyperspeed. So now he can get it to Yavin and then eventually get it to Kifix and start threatening that battle at least. And that's exactly what we see him doing. He moves the Bosk in the bus to Endor. He's got 13 cards down and 4 in hand. So Timo can activate. Timo can drain for 2. He does have to worry at least a little bit about a counter assault. Like, at some point, Johnny may find another one of those. So there's the 3. Johnny loses Janice from hand and Gick from hand. Perfectly reasonable cards to lose. At this point, I think you're moving the X-Wing to Kessel. Oh, moves the X-Wing with the gun to Sullust. Yep, he's got to start blocking some of those drains in return. Moves the X-Wing with the gun to Sullust. Moves the X-Wing from Endor to Kifix, or from Endor to Kessel. And saves. So Johnny activates all but 1. I know what that card is. I'm assuming Johnny's going to Janice to get that Sabak. and then know he's got a perfect sabak there. Oh, all right. So first he's going to drain for 2 at Yavin. Timo with the it could be worse. A hit to reduce it by 1, and Johnny plays it's worse and uses everything, and Timo with the it's a hit to cancel it's worse. Johnny might have Johnny overplayed his hand. Yeah, Johnny says I got greedy. That Johnny overplayed his hand there. He's going to lose Dengar in punishing 1. That might have cost him this match. So Timo loses the Spiral, which was the last card from the drain. That greed might have actually cost Johnny. Like, Johnny's only got 1 card in hand now. He's got no way to get that sabak. And the drain, I mean, he's going to get drained for 5. Like, that, I think, actually just cost Johnny the match. That Johnny got too greedy there. That second it's a hit was huge. And yeah, Johnny recirculates. Like, the battle at Sullust is immaterial. Like, I'm not even sure Dylan needs to battle at Sullust. Like, you just drain for 5. And you're costing Johnny the Sabak, which is the card he really needed. So, like, that was the Johnny needed. Johnny overplayed that it's worse. There goes a couple Masterfuls off the top. Johnny's down to 8 cards down and 1 in hand. I mean, in theory, he can block. He can move and start blocking these drains. Like, this is going to be. Yeah, Johnny should have spent, like, spending 6 force on that it's worse would have been totally fine and super reasonable. And you're still at that point winning the game if it goes through no matter what. It's dumping your entire force pile. Johnny got excited and overdid it. That might be the first time I've ever streamed a Johnny game where I can unequivocally say Johnny made a play mistake. That this wasn't a mistrack. This was absolutely a decision he should not have made, and that was a mistake. Timo is, however, kind of stuck in his own spot because he's got to decide what he can do here. Because Johnny can absolutely just go, all right, I'm going to activate. I'm going to drain for 3. And then I'm going to move Bosk in front of Kessel. I'm going to move the Executor in front of Kifix. And Timo's got to start figuring something out there. Because Timo's only got 9 cards. So by then, Timo will only have 6. He won't be able to drain. He's got to move guys. And then Johnny's going to have drains again. And, like, Johnny could... I mean, it's still possible for Johnny to pull this out. I think it isn't over, but it's real close. That battle order is actually going to add up very quickly. And there, Timo says, yep, I'm just going to move this X-Wing to Coruscant right away. He realizes he was going to have to do that, and that way he can get that drain there in theory. It is, however, just a drain of 1. The one thing is the loss piles was 24 to 39, so Johnny really does have to win this game by 8. Like, he can't win it by 7. He won't win on loss piles. Because at best, we're going to see it go 35, 36, 37 to 27. So yeah, that was and there's the all wings report in to go get the go get the X-wing. So that's going to cancel a drain. That might have sealed it right there. Like Johnny activated, he left 2, unless he's got another sabak. Like that would be, I mean, I guess if you've got the sabak, I mean, do you pay 3 to drain for 1 because Timo can't cancel it because then the drain of 2? Well, I mean, yeah, there's the Force Lightning, so he's checking his destiny because he can battle off that X-Wing at Sullust. Like, and that actually, I mean, if you start the battle at Sullust, you lose Emperor's power to add the battle destiny. You're going to cause a force loss on the stack, along with taking one off of there. And then you're moving guys over. And yep, the Drano 1 at Endor goes through because Timo has to hold that X-Wing for the drain. The first strike might be... Ooh. That's going to help. So he's going to retrieve a card now as well. He'll get back the 6. And Timo does have to lose 1 because he now occupies 3. He's got 3 battlegrounds, so honor's no longer in effect. And we see Johnny lose Emperor's power to add a battle destiny, which is exactly what I was saying. And so the battle destiny is immaterial. It's not a 0. So it's going to cost Timo the X-Wing that's there, along with the stack on Emperor's power, which is big. And that might have to be the X-Wing in Timo's hand. I mean, maybe not, but that's... Johnny's got 9 cards down. I mean, in theory, I think Timo could just start 2 battles. Like if Johnny moves in front of Timo's stuff, I guess Timo's going to lose the X-Wing and 1. Or the X-Wing and 2, actually. Ooh. So, yeah. Ooh. This is going to be very, very close. Because if Timo loses X-Wing from hand and X-Wing from reserve. Timo's only got 4 force. The thing is, if he battles Johnny twice with first strike, and that's what Johnny's just asking is, how do lost pile ties work? Person with more and lost loses. It's... I don't have a good way to contact Johnny. All I've got is his email. Right now, you're losing the lost pile tie, Johnny. If there is somebody who's got the ability to jump in there who's watching, I think it's just going to be admins, and I don't think anybody who's watching right now on GEMP has the ability. So we see Brangus move up to the Executor as another pilot. So, yeah, I mean, Johnny can, I guess, move and block the Kifix, and maybe that's just it, is Johnny blocks the Kifix drain, but then he gets drained for 3 at Kessel and loses. like right now, Johnny. I mean, moving Brangus up tells me he only had the one Sabak, but like that was kind of his out because right now, Timo just battles twice with first strike and ends up winning the game on. Well, I guess he can't necessarily battle twice. Wherever he battles, he's going to end up taking enough overflow. He can't win the game. He can't battle a second time because he's got 11 plus 2 battle destinies at Kessel, and he's down 12 at Kifix. So, well, I guess he activates all 4. Yeah, you activate all 4. You pay 3 to drain for 1 at Coruscant. And then you battle somewhere. Timo had 24 and lost. Johnny had 39. Ultimately, Johnny's... Here, let me send Timo a message. So I did just send I did just send Timo a message. He may or may not have his thing up. That he is up 15 and lost power from last game. So yeah, John, we can check it, Johnny. Just no one can tell you that right now. So hopefully, I know Timo's a good enough guy. He will let him know. Unfortunately, unless somebody's got a better way to activate. Yes, Timo wins this. If he drains in battles, he wins this because Johnny overstepped with the it could be with the it's worse. There's the drain of 1 at Coruscant. I mean, Johnny's got to lose his card from hand. I think the only way he was winning this is if that card in hand is a yeah, Sokol could let Johnny know. I mean, the only way he wins this is if that card in his hand is a projective telepathy to stop this drain. And I feel like that's not the case, as Johnny would have played that, would have snap played it if it was. Because he won't be able to play it to stop the battle. He has no force saved. So it almost doesn't matter at this point. Again, Johnny's... yeah, Johnny's asking in chat. Unfortunately, like, hopefully someone, yeah. Oh, okay. So thank you, Ellie. If he asked in the regular GEMP chat, I can't pass over. Johnny didn't have the limited resources. Yeah, it's the lost pile differential is the total of both. That's what they're asking. Basically, Johnny's going to win this game by 7. Johnny lost by 7. So the game is, yeah, and he loses a card from reserve. Timo's got to start this battle. I mean, ultimately, it doesn't matter because Timo's going to start this battle and end the game, and then that's it. So, unfortunately, this is one of those where the fact that no one else can comment in chat is a thing. And yeah, Timo is just saying, I had 24 and you had 39. So, yeah, that would be, so Timo would advance. There, he starts the battle. He retrieves 1. Johnny has to lose 1, which is the Zuckuss and Mist Hunter from hand. And now Timo is going to stack a card and lose 4. And that's it. Yep, if Johnny's greed cost him that one, and that's unfortunate. It was a, Timo will advance here. He wins. Lost piles are going to be 36, 37 to 29. So a difference of 8. In the first game, they were a difference of 15, and had Johnny just drawn up when I thought he was going to, if you were watching the first game, they would have been a difference of 7, and Johnny would have ended up advancing that way as well. Amazing matches by both players. Congratulations to Timo in advancing to the top 4. Well played by both players. Thank you, everybody, for watching and hanging out with me. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and may the force be with you.